What made you realize the thing everyone hated about you was the thing they secretly needed? I was the kid who couldn't stop asking questions, not curious questions, interrogation questions. If a teacher said Columbus discovered America, I'd ask who was already living there. If my dad said he'd be home at 6, I'd ask why he was late yesterday. I couldn't help it. My brain saw holes in everything people said, and I had to poke them. My mom called it exhausting. My teachers called it disruptive. I called it Tuesday. Wait, I called it hell because I didn't have a single friend for 4 years. Nobody wants to hang out with someone who questions every single thing they say. My therapist said I had trust issues. My principal said I had authority issues. Neither understood. I just needed things to make sense. When someone told me something, my brain automatically searched for inconsistencies. The questions would build up in my throat until I had to ask them. I didn't want to ruin conversations. I wanted to understand why people said things that didn't add up. Everything changed the day I accidentally exposed Mr. Whitmore in front of the entire sophomore English class. He was explaining why we couldn't use phones during tests. Studies show phone usage correlates with lower test scores, he said confidently. Kids nodded. I raised my hand. What studies? He smiled. Multiple studies. It's common knowledge. I couldn't stop myself. Can you name one? Just one specific study? His smile died. I don't need to cite sources for common sense, but you just said studies, plural. If they exist, you should be able to name at least one. The class went silent. He turned red. This is exactly why you don't have friends. Nobody likes someone who questions everything. I felt my face burn, but I also noticed he still hadn't answered my question. 3 days later, the school board fired him. Turns out another student recorded my question and posted it. People started digging. Mr. Whitmore had been lying about his credentials for 6 years. No master's degree, no teaching certification from the state he claimed, just a guy who talked confidently enough that nobody questioned him until I did. The principal called me into her office. I expected detention. Instead, she said, "Have you ever thought about journalism?" A week later, I was sitting in the school newspaper office across from the editor, a senior named Vanessa. She slid a folder across the table. The school's budget report. Principal says we're broke. Need to cut arts and sports. I need you to read this and tell me what's wrong with it. I spent 3 hours reading. Found 18 inconsistencies. Line items that didn't match. Expenses that seemed inflated. A construction project that cost twice the usual rate. Vanessa smiled when I showed her. Thought so. Want to help me destroy some liars? For the first time in my life, someone wanted me to ask questions. We spent 2 months investigating. I'd ask the principal about budget lines. She'd give vague answers. I'd ask the superintendent about vendor contracts. He'd deflect. Every non-answer was another thread to pull. Other students thought I was insane. Why do you care about the budget? They'd ask. Because the numbers don't make sense. And when numbers don't make sense, someone's lying. We published the expose on a Monday morning. 8 pages documenting how the athletic director had been funneling money to his brother's construction company. Fake bids, inflated invoices. The arts and sports programs weren't broke. Someone was stealing from them. The article went viral by lunch. Local news picked it up by dinner. The athletic director was arrested by Wednesday. Thursday morning, the principal announced full funding restoration for all programs. Kids who'd avoided me for years suddenly wanted to talk. The quarterback found me at lunch. "You saved our season. Thank you." The theater kids invited me to opening night. Even the teachers who'd called me disruptive started asking my opinion on things. But the best moment came Friday afternoon. Vanessa pulled me aside in the newspaper office. "There's a state journalism competition. Investigative category. We should enter this." I hesitated. "They'll just think I'm annoying." She laughed. "Annoying people don't win awards. Thorough people do. You're not annoying. You're an investigator. You just didn't know it yet." We won. Took first place. The judge's comment said, "Exceptional attention to detail and unwillingness to accept surface-level answers." My mom cried when she read it. Not because I won, because someone finally saw my questions as valuable instead of irritating. At the award ceremony, a woman from the state university approached me. "We have a full scholarship for investigative journalism. You'd be perfect." She handed me her card. "Keep asking questions. The world needs people who won't shut up until they get real answers." I looked at Vanessa. She was already crying. That summer, the school hired a new athletic director. He invited me to review the budget proposals before the board meeting. Said he wanted someone with a critical eye to make sure everything was legitimate. The same principal who'd called me friendless now introduced me at assemblies as our award-winning journalist. The same teachers who told me to stop questioning everything now encouraged it.